Hey guys, it's Spaces Sims, and we are back with more Charade Maniacs. This could be the end of Tomose's route, or we could have another part after this. I have no idea. We're getting down to the wire at any rate. So yeah, but we are in our Charades game. We were getting down to the final round, but we had to stop. At the end of the last part, couldn't go too much more, and who knows? This will be like 2 minutes. Watch. Because I didn't. If I had recorded it, oh god, sorry, I dropped my remote in my couch cushion, because I was adjusting my freaking hoodie and my blanket because it's cold as fuck right now. I'm cold. I'm old. I got a blanket on. It's nice. Anyway, yeah. So we're starting obviously the final round. So now for the fateful final round. Start. Trying to do that first is not fun. Right. Just like the previous time, Tomose looked straight at the Arcadian child. The child looked a little nervous as he stared back, but suddenly Tomose smiled.
Oh, we're playing a game, right? What do I do?
I want to tell him to guess the word, but he could hear our voices from our side, so it couldn't be helped. But he couldn't hear our voices, sorry. It was the same for Tomose. He couldn't speak. He could only gesture. We looked on quietly, and he opened his arms wide soon after. He drew a small ellipse. Then he followed that ellipse with his eyes. Left, right, left, right. His line of sight moved in a zigzag pattern downward. Then he caught something in midair. Are we doing the leaf thing? Huh?
What's that?
He then plucked something with his fingers and held it out in front.
It's the same one for before. It's a leaf.
However, the director ruthlessly responds, "Incorrect."
Huh? Is wrong?
The next moment, Tomose then blows on that leaf. The fingers that were holding onto the leaf started to move frantically. The gesture was only for a moment. He then pulled his hand away and keeps blowing at his fingers in a bit of a panicking way.
The leaf burned.
Oh, I thought I had seen this before, but even that was the same. It's the same thing. It's exactly like the gesture I did.
Oh, really?
What's the answer? It's a leaf, but this answer must be different. Why did he make a leaf gesture? Why in the world is... I can't do frickin' Haiji's voice right now anyway. Beats me. While we were talking about... I was like too stuck in like the child voice. But like... While we were talking about it, Tomose went on the next action. Oh, good God. Everything is happening all at once over here. Like, Norton popping up, volumes going crazy. Like, I'm sorry, I just got distracted for like... Anyway, I couldn't do Haiji's voice. I got him mixed up with the kid for a second. Anyway, it doesn't... He picked up something with his right hand and made it bounce to the top of his palm. His line of sight moved along with it. Hit the thing on his hand and it went higher. Then it fell back onto his palm. He flipped his palm over and let it drop to the ground. He looked down to the ground, then to his hand. Up, down, up, down. That rhythmic movement is...
You're playing with a ball?
Tomose grinned at that statement and continued to play with the ball. He kicked it with his foot to juggle it. Then he used his head and back, too. I'd never heard about him being good at juggling, but he looked like a professional. There's nothing there. It's imaginary, so of course you can look like good if you're doing an imaginary.
That's great. I want to play too.
The time limit is at half now. What about your answer? You have to guess what word he's trying to present.
Oh, right. I have to guess. A ball?
Incorrect.
I got it wrong again.
The child was enjoying it, but it was worrying for us. Is it soccer? I don't think the Arcadians know about it, so I thought it'd be the ball. First a leaf and now a ball. They seem completely different. Then what's the answer? I have no idea. If we don't know, I doubt some child would be able to guess. Especially an alien one. Let's just wait and see. Although there's less than a minute left. I'll say... While I was nervous, Tomose still maintained a smile. He seemed to be enjoying it. It's okay. Let's believe in him. What if the nth word is fun? Like, because the leaf thing, oh, that was fun for them, and playing with a ball would be fun. We promised to go back together. I promised him that I'd never doubt him again. Tomose maintained that smile as he blew on that ball he held in his hand. Now he's blowing on the ball like he's blowing up a balloon. Oh my god, it's a fucking balloon. Is it a fucking balloon? Like you blow up a balloon and you bounce it around, and then like then you twitch frantically and burn the ball. You're not burning the ball, you're letting air out of a balloon? Guys, I don't know! She's describing them and I'm like, okay, here's a fun way to play charades with your friends. Have someone do the charade, but nobody else can see them, and then you describe their actions and see if anybody can fucking guess. Describe the action. So, like, you have the person who's doing it, like, behind a wall. So then you're standing there and you're describing to the people who are trying to guess. They're not seeing what that person's doing. They're basing it on your fucking descriptions. There's, like, a thing, and it's, like, bouncing, but you can't gesture. That gesture person can't use words, and you can't fucking gesture. You have to be like, it's, like, something, he's taking his hand, and looks like it's going up in the air. Is he tossing it up in the air, maybe? Or, like... See how fucked up that gets. It's verbal charades, but it's like it's like playing the game of telephone, where by the end you're like, the hell? Like, purple somehow came out to be like tentacle porn? I don't understand. Like, because it like gets distorted as it goes. It's gonna be like that. It'll be even more fun. His fingers then twitched frantically some more to burn the ball. He then pulled his hand back rapidly, and he kept blowing at it repeatedly. Same as earlier. Oh my god, we get a CG of the kid. Oh, okay, there's Tomose. Like, we get the little Arcadian kid.
It's burning again.
He simply laughed maniacally. I wondered how he could laugh at that alone. Same smile as a human child. Now it's made me smile too, almost to the point of laughing. It wasn't the time for that. Mose looks like so drugged up in this CG. After those gestures ended, Tomose opened his arms widely and stood up straight. He did so while facing that boy. 15 seconds left. If you do not give the right answer within 15 seconds, you lose.
Huh? That's it? I wanted to see more.
But Tomose remained completely calm as he slowly smiled, and he pointed at the boy.
Me? I had fun. I had a lot of fun.
It was fun, wasn't it?
I don't think I've ever smiled this much. Thanks, big bro.
And Tomose also laughed in a bashful way. He laughed as if he really enjoyed it. 10 seconds. Time passed so fast. Huh?
It's not over yet.
Felt like the clock inside my body was ringing. My heart beat quickly to show the passage of time, but neither the director or Tomose moved. Then a robotic sound cut through the silence. Correct! You had to bend the rules, but I suppose this is fine. I've never seen an Arcadian laugh this much before. The spotlight shut off, and the Arcadian child vanished. Phew, it was either fun or laughter? Maybe? Tomose sighed quietly, showing that he was no longer acting. He closed his eyes ever so slowly one more time. What was the answer? There was only one thing that came to mind. It couldn't be put into words, but the boy's expression said everything. I think it was laughter. I get it. And that was cheating a bit. That goes both ways. He used a kid to raise the difficulty. Either way, this means that, hey, we can go home! So we actually get to go home, unless they fuck us over, but I'm just saying. It's nice to actually have one warmth next to me, that we actually get to go home. You know what I mean? Because otherwise I was starting to feel like we were never going to go home in any of these, you know? Bonja won. As I said those words, but they were drowned out by loud and happy music.
Wonderful! That was a splendid victory! Well done!
With the director's announcement, our bangles rang. They said objective complete on them. That just sounds like... Oh. Sounded like it came out wrong.
As promised, Mose Banjo will be awarded 1,000 points. Now allow me to ask once more. Your reward for achieving the objective is that one single wish will be granted. Now, what is your wish?
He's like, I want everyone to go home. And he's like, we'll give you 1,000 points. And it's like, oh, we can go. Oh, you fuckers. You get 1,000 points. Not everyone. Without any hesitation, Tomose addressed the director. The return of everyone. Send us all back to our original world immediately. However, I heard a familiar mechanical sound again.
Oh my! It seems that request cannot be processed. We have an error.
What? Huh? What was he saying? He had promised to return us. I was about to tell him that, but the director spoke up first. Shady.
I did promise to grant your wish of returning you to your original world. However, that is conditional.
What? Huh? What are you talking about? You never said that at all.
You're correct that I never stated it, but you never confirmed the details either.
Is that why you declined to return everyone directly and said you'd only award 1,000 points?
And that's not fair at all. And do we have to run by every single detail with you beforehand?
We all expressed our discontent, but Tomose remained calm. And what is that condition? And don't tell me we have to save up another 1,000 points each. See, when he said, oh, I'll give you 1,000 points, and then you can make a wish, it was like, okay, 1,000 points, he was going to give us 1,000 points each, and he's like, I'll give you, and it's like, oh, there's your loophole. You need 1,000 points each.
Of course not. And there's only one simple condition. The condition of the return is limited to only one cast member, or 9 cast members excluding one. All right, well, one person was tasked with surveillance, so it's actually 8 people instead. Now who will it be? You may make your selection.
Speechless. It's either 1 or 8. We can go back, but not all of us. Just like me, everyone around me went quiet. Shady. We weren't even able to say that it wasn't fair. May I ask why you're doing this?
Why, it's rather simple. Look at your own expressions. They're filled with despair and confusion. They're simply wonderful expressions to see.
This is literally like another Danganronpa. This is like the Danganronpa dating game. Like, we're not exactly dying here, but like, oh, despair! What the fuck? Every time I get some Danganronpa flashbacks.
This by itself makes wonderful entertainment. It's a moment better than any drama. You all certainly do not disappoint, just like every other time. I wonder what your conclusion may be. Either you forsake everyone to save yourself, or you ignore the will of one person and you sacrifice them.
He said 8 because one person's a traitor, so we'll just leave Futami here. It's fine.
Arcadians cannot understand such complex emotions. However, that's what makes this interesting.
So we're going to send everybody back, but we're going to stay. Are we ever going to get home? I just really figure, like, okay, this is the one where we get home. Cool. Instead of, like, we're always fucking stuck here. Because, like, if you're setting that up in Tomose's route first, then it's like, I kind of feel like we're never, ever going to get home. Except for maybe at the last route. But, like, I don't know. I kind of wanted it to be like, oh, we got home. Like, I feel like that would have set it up a little better. Like, say you do Tomose's route first, because honestly, let's be real. He's the safest. You know this, right? And if you did do, like, a guide kind of thing, like, okay, what's the first route? Whatever. Okay, we are going to get home. And then the next one, you don't get home. And then maybe you do. Like, you're like, what the fuck? Then, like, if the first route you do is, like, we don't get home, you're like, okay, if you're not getting home in Tomose's route, I don't think you're getting home in any fucking one of them. You know what I mean? Like, what the shit? And, like, I don't know. You're always stuck here? I don't... It feels a little... I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Well, anyway.
That's one of the best things about the Otherworld stream.
This is all so arbitrary.
From our point of view, your challenge to play the game was just as arbitrary. We were the ones who made the compromise.
It was absurd. It was illogical, but you're right. There never was a time when they didn't act so ridiculously. We were forced into Arcadia to act. The only thing they thought about was murdering us. Everything was illogical. Everything was done selfishly for themselves. It was a mistake to think we could have fair negotiations with them in the first place. I glared at the director, full of anger. But at that moment, I felt someone tap me on the shoulder. Hey. I looked up and saw Tomose making a sort of face that I've never seen him make before. There was confusion and hesitation, a sort of expression that sought my help. I thought that I could win, that we could go back together. Yeah, you did win. But not everyone can go back. Someone has to be sacrificed, or we can't run away. Well, Gyobu wanted to stay. Let him stay. Does anybody want to volunteer to stay? Anyone's having fun here? You know what I mean? We have to sacrifice someone. Why don't we ask, does anyone want to stay? Because there are several people who are like, I'm okay with staying. Iochi might actually volunteer to stay because they want to find out the secret, right? Of the Otherworld stream. Figure out what happened to their brother. So, you know what I mean? Gyobu's already like, I hate going home. Futami doesn't want to go home. Haiji might not want to admit that he doesn't want to go home. You know what I mean? But the thing is, if there are people who volunteer, Ibana might not want to go home because he hasn't gotten his arm back. Actually, this is a very interesting place they put themselves into here. Because if there are people who volunteer to stay, you're gonna wonder why, right? And you're gonna suspect them. Like, if Iochi volunteered to stay, we know why Iochi would volunteer to stay. But let's say you did this and you hadn't gone down Iochi's route first, right? You'd be like, why? Is Iochi the fucking traitor? Like, what the hell? You know what I mean? Interesting. Ibana volunteers to stay, but like, why? You know what I mean? Like, anyone does it, you don't know why. You know what I mean? So it's like that, I think, would make it more interesting. Like, okay, there were a couple people that volunteered to stay because one person can't do it on their own, a drama on their own. So they're like, all right, okay, well, you know what? They can't do it on their own. I'll stay with them too, and because whatever. Like, Iochi chooses to stay because they want to figure out the secret that's going on, and they work for the Information Bureau. But you have Gyobu or Futami or somebody else is like, I'll volunteer to stay with Iochi because, like, they can't handle on their own, you know, whatever. And we know why. Like, you know what I mean? That would make it more interesting. I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to be like, oh, Banjo's going to stay, so we're going to stay with him. And it's going to be like, we always get fucking stuck here with people. And, I mean, I guess at least in the scenarios so far that we've seen on why we end up staying here, they've done well at, like, giving us an excuse. Like, okay, they changed the rules on this game, so Tomose's gonna stay, so we stay with him, and that's why we end up here with him. We know why Iochi stayed, we know why Futami stayed, so at least they're giving us unique reasons. It's not like, oh, we just got stuck here, or it's not the same thing every time. But I don't think you can have us stay here every single time because it's gonna get old, like, oh, okay. Like this! Tomose being like, okay, we're going to do this battle and we're going to see what happens. And you're like, why? Because we know we're going to end up getting stuck here, so whatever. Sure, the process of going, okay, but how are you going to make this force us to stay here? But the being forced to stay here now after the third time, it's like, I mean, at this point, I'm just assuming we're going to stay here in every single round. And that takes, again, some of the fun out of it. I don't think they really thought some of this through. It's like individual route and like, yeah, this route's great. Yeah, but when you put them all together, it's like, makes no fucking sense. Like, we always end up here. And again, we've only done 3 out of the 9 routes so far. So like, they've at least so far come up with unique reasons for us to get stuck here. But like, you're gonna do this 9 times? Really? Or maybe when we get to the producer route, that's the only one we get to go home, but it's like, and maybe that's the point. You never get to go home unless you go down the producer route. That's the only way, because then you figure everything out. All right, okay. I guess I could see that, but I don't know. I don't know. I guess that works, but I don't know how. I'm kind of fluctuating. I'm like, is that really a great idea? Sort of, part of me thinks so. It's like, oh, well, actually, that's kind of interesting. You know, because that was their original stipulation. Figure out who the producer is and you can all go home whenever. Peace out. You know, so okay. But, you know, then everything we're doing and like, well, we're going to do this and we're going to manipulate this and we're going to do that. And like Iochi popping up and like, hey, I work for the Information Bureau and we're going to shut you down and whatever. And it's like, oh, never mind, we got stuck here. Okay, fine. Tomose does this. Oh no, we got stuck here. Well, we know why we got stuck here with Futomi. But like, you know what I mean? Like, after a while, you're like, yeah, we're going to do this whole rigmarole. We're going to get to the point where it's going to be like this with Tomose. I'm going to do this. Yeah, why bother? We're going to get stuck here anyway. You know, and it takes some of the, like, I don't want to say fun out. It takes the anticipation, I guess. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. I can't right now. Where you're like, okay, are we going to win or lose? Because if he lost and you get stuck here, you're like, okay, we won. Oh no, we're stuck here. Never mind. It does take some of the fun, it takes some of the mystery out of it. You know what I mean? You're like, ooh, is he going to win or lose? You're like, what does it fucking matter? We're going to get stuck here anyway. You know what I mean? But, like, if there were actual stakes, oh, hey, but again, I think that's what this game does badly. Stakes. There are no actual stakes. Like, I'm actually surprised they killed Akase. I'm actually fucking surprised they killed him. And now, okay, we know that there really are no stakes in that because we can bring him back. And that's fine. But they went through with, somebody met a dead end. Okay. All right. So I guess I couldn't say they shouldn't say there's no stakes. But, like, they're not doing it as well as they could. Because they're giving us this, like, okay, we're playing this game. Stay or go. And then you end up staying anyway, whether you win or lose. So it's like, yeah, I guess there's a twist to it, but you're like, oh, this is the way it's going to be the whole time. Every time. Every fucking route. We're going to get stuck here. So now the next one, when it comes down to, oh, we've got this thing, and it's either A, we stay, or B, we're going to end up staying. We don't get to go home on B. They're going to pull the rug out from underneath us and wherever we're stuck here. So, like, it doesn't really matter what you do. It's the illusion of choice. You know, it's the illusion of, oh, this is a moment. Oh my god, are we going to get stuck here or not? Yeah, we are. So it doesn't matter what happens here. You know? I don't necessarily know that this was done well. I think it could have been better. Still having fun with the game, don't get me wrong, but I just feel like there's a lot of things you're like, I don't know if this makes sense. So Tomose is going to volunteer to stay. And I would be shocked if a couple of other people volunteered and were like, we'll stay, let everyone else go home. I would actually be shocked, and I would be like, props for that, because at least that's a little twist, you know, because you know there's people that want to stay. So, like, this would be the time for them to volunteer. You know what I mean? Because, like, Ibana can't come back to get his arm back. You know what I mean? And you can't have him reveal, whoa, what about my arm? We know why I'm making a wild guess, but I feel like they've made it obvious. So, but if he chooses to come back, we're gonna know, you know what I mean? We're gonna know he was here before. And if they get other are we just stuck here? It's just the two of us, and there's never gonna be any. Anyway, whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't know why I'm trying to find logic in this. Anyway. Okay. So someone can't be sacrificed. It has to be sacrificed. Yeah. Okay. I can't sacrifice anyone here. I don't have the courage to do that. I'd never heard him sound so faint. I'll say, he was level-headed, competitive, and acted tough. He'd always decided where to go on his own, and I had a tough time keeping up. Mose was the kind to always move forward without hesitation. He's hesitating. He was no longer considering only himself, and he was now thinking about everyone else around him. Right, Tomose just shouldn't have to make this decision. That was exactly why he felt hesitant in the moment. If there's one person that can stay in this world, I can only think of one. Huh? I can only choose myself. What are you saying? You can't! We promised! And also maybe ask other people's opinions. I said it defiantly, but Tomose didn't react. He still had this shadow cast over his face, and it didn't seem like my words reached him. Because you know what's going to happen. He stays, we'll stay with him, okay, fine. And then they're going to have to get new people, but then Iochi and Ibana are coming back because Iochi's got business here. Ibana's coming back because he's got his arm over here in the fucking thrift store. The antique shop. It's funny that his arm's in an antique shop. Like, Wasn't an antique shop. I'm just gonna pretend it is because that's funny in a way. Like, it ain't anywhere near close. Technically, wait, you're a teenage. Well, you're pushing antique because antiques are like, what, like vintage is like is like 20s. So like, technically, he's getting close to vintage. I don't know why it's funny that his arm isn't a fucking antique. Anyway, you know what I mean? And do you not think maybe Gyobu doesn't want to leave, so maybe he'll volunteer to come back, whatever his problem is, and you don't think the producer or the sponsor are coming back? So, like, half the people are coming back! And we're gonna be like, I mean, I was gonna be like, I want to see the fan disc of this. I don't. This is one you shouldn't make a fan disc of. I don't think there's a point. Don't do it. It kind of is good enough the way it is, and like, no offense, this would be one of those where you're like, why? I mean, I'd still play it, but we wouldn't play it. If they ever made one, we wouldn't be. I feel like this is... Anyway. Ugh. I said it defiantly, but Tomosi didn't react. He still had the shadow cast over his face, and it didn't seem like my words reached him here. There has to be a way. There has to be! Yes, someone volunteers. Nope. I don't want to lose like this. I was surprised to hear that voice behind me. Interesting, I am too. I mean, I know he would choose to stay, but curious. I turned around to see Gyobu and his typical aloof expression. Let's think of this another way. We're now going into overtime. I'll take over for you from here, Tomo. Huh? I was the first one to say that I wanted to stay here. There's no problem at all. See? That's what I'm saying, somebody. No, you didn't say it like you were sure of it. Really? Well, it's all the same. I'm staying. Everyone else can go home. But there's no need to feel guilty about it. I'm actually pretty competitive. I get irritated when they say that stuff to me. I still have stuff left undone. Don't worry about me. Okay, but what stuff left undone? Is it sponsor things because you're a second sponsor, or is it something fucking else that is even more intriguing than that? Once the Otherworld stream ends, we don't know what happens to the remaining cast. You may encounter an even crueler fate. It might not even be a matter of competition. Are you still going to stay in spite of that? Look, things already suck. I'll just keep making progress toward victory. Are you serious? And this is your chance to return. Come on. Trust me. I can't go back yet. I still have something to do here. Everyone tried talking to Gyobu to convince him to change his mind, but he clapped his hands to interrupt everyone. Okay, here's what I find funny. Right? This is, I think, proof that Gyobu's not the producer. Because don't you feel like people were going to be like, are you the producer? Because you want to stay here. And why is no one sus of this? I don't think he was the producer to begin with. I did think he was a sponsor, and I'm still kind of like, maybe there's a second one. Because I don't know what you could possibly have in store for him, what secrets he has to be a locked route, that if he's not the fucking sponsor. You know what I mean? And I don't think he's the producer, because I'm banking that on Haiji, okay? Because the two of them are sus as fuck. And I had producer-sponsor right there. You know, well, whatever. You know which one I meant. But, like, but this is making you seem kind of sus, where, like, maybe you could be the producer, but I feel like that's too obvious. He's volunteering to stay, you'd be like, it's him, right? So when you get to his route, he's not going to be the producer, because this seems kind of obvious. We're like, I mean, it's obvious you're hiding something. Again, I'm still like, is there a second sponsor? I'm not taking that off the table, okay? Don't think you're the producer, but I feel like this makes people think you are. So that when you get to his route, you're like, oh, he's actually not! To be fair, by the time you get to the end, and you get to the last 3 characters, I think it's going to be pretty much set at that point. You're going to be like, there's no surprise here. Especially when you get to character 8. Like, if character 8's not Gyobu, or he comes before that, okay, whatever, character 8. Now you have 8 characters. The 9th character is obviously the fucking producer. That would be the last route. Why would there be a character after the producer? Unless there's some other twist, like crazy-ass twist that's like, Yeah, actually, there's a producer sponsor, and then there's somebody who's actually an Arcadian here. Then my bank is Hygie, because he acts like a fucking alien, so I'm just throwing that out there. I've already been like, that's something an alien would say before, whatever. But, so, I mean, you know what I mean? But, like, I'm just surprised that, I'm not surprised that Gyobu volunteered, because that's exactly what I was saying. He wants to stay. Why is he not volunteering? But it is interesting if Tomose is like the first route and you do this, you're like, that's it, he's the producer. I don't think he's the producer because I feel like that's too obvious, But anyway. Anyway, he wants to do that. Anyway. All right, that's enough of that. The director, I'm staying behind. There's no problem with that, right?
There's no problem. Are you finished discussing this?
Oh, good, we actually get to go home. Okay, cool. This is what I was saying. Like, I like this, that they're going to throw you for a loop and every once in a while you're going to go home and then all of a sudden you're not and you're like, the fuck? Yeah, that's better. Well, again, I think it would be better if you had done Tomose's route first. You go home and then the next route you don't and you're like, well, fuck, I thought we were going home every time. Now it's up in the air, Give you a little spice in the first couple routes before things get really interesting. Yep, it's all done. It's a pain, so just send everyone else back right now. Oh, I'll have you know that we haven't lost yet. We're just following your rules. It's interesting when he says this, so it's like, I'm still sus of him, but I'm just confused now why. I'm sus of you, and I just don't know why. We're going into overtime, so I hope you're ready.
I see. If this will make things interesting, then I don't mind at all.
The fucking director's a robot. You said it's a pain. But Gyobu! What's up? You can thank me with a kiss. I went to stop Gyobu, but he moved his face closer to ask for a kiss. Even when things were bad, he couldn't be serious. Now's not the time for this! I guess so. Are you gonna be mad, Tomo? It's more like, are you sure about this? Don't be such a downer. It's okay. I'm good at games. As good as you are. See, that's us too. Everything that comes out of his mouth. Gyobu winked at him, and Tomose, who had been gasping for air, seemed to finally come back to life. Then we'll see you on the other side. That's what you want, right? Yeah, I'd do that. I'll win and come back, so don't worry. It's gonna... And now he looks angry. And now I just feel like maybe you're not actually a sponsor. Maybe there's not really more than one, but you've got some other fucking reason for being here. And it's like gonna be so much. I can't imagine like, yeah, you want to find out who the producer and the sponsor are. So you find out, you kind of would know. I mean, I guess that's interesting. I don't think I like having, again, Futami being second. But finding out, oh my god, wait a minute, whoa. You're getting down to the last couple routes. And you find out Futami is the sponsor, and you're like, wait, what? Wait, whoa, wait. But then and then the last 3 locked routes, you're like, the fuck? Obviously, I feel like the last one's gonna be the producer, okay? But then the couple before that, you're like, well, what the fuck kind of secrets do you... You're not the sponsor. I mean, I can't be mad at them for that, because I was thinking, like, sponsor, then producer, and you're done, but like, you'll already know at that point, whatever. But then it's like, you'd go through all the routes, get Futami, and be like, what the fuck? Kind of like we did, but way too early. And then you're like, but then who the fuck are... I mean, I'm still like, well, then who the fuck are the locked routes, and what are they hiding? It's crazy. I'm still just mad about the fact that you could trip over Futami's route first, and that's like, that takes a lot of the fun is getting your, like, okay, yeah, it's these two, and then you find out Futami was, and you're like, whoa, wait a minute. But then you spiral into the last couple routes, which should be a landslide of, like, crazy. You shouldn't find this out this soon. You know what I mean? I don't know. Anyway. I'm still now curious what the fuck is going on with you. But see, I don't know if it makes you more interesting, if that you're not a sponsor, maybe, I don't know, but I feel like it would have been better if we found that out, like, right before your route, not now, but, well, anyway, whatever. It is what it is. I've complained about that enough.
And then we shall transport everyone soon. This will take place as soon as possible, but there may be a lag between the members.
As soon as I looked around me and saw that a few were already gone, little by little they crumbled away and vanished.
So this is it. In the end, none of the mysteries are solved.
It's alright to go back like this. Oh, is it alright to go back like this? Yeah, I'm starting to think Akase's is the one that agreed to it. So there's nothing for us to say. But I hope you're careful out there. That doesn't make it any less reckless. I honestly didn't think you were serious about staying. You thought I was lying. A lot has happened, but now everything between us has been completely solved, don't you think? Yeah, things did end up going much smoother than I thought it would. See, and now you're talking like you know each other. Aside from this, like this, you're like, this conversation on the surface is like, okay. But then you dig in, you're like, but knowing what we know about Futami, doesn't this seem suspicious? I really do love that the main theme of this game is who the fuck is sus today? Let's play Are You Suspicious or Are You Suspicious? Is it sus or is it sus? Everybody is. I don't know. Gyobu, won't you feel lonely staying here by yourself? Don't you want to go home? That's a difficult question. I'll find the answer for you by the time I get back. It's curious how he's going to manage theoretically. Okay, there's obviously something going on. We don't know what it is. But on the surface level, it's like, okay, how are you going to manage dramas by yourself? You're going to assume they have to keep going. You always sound so carefree. And now I feel like that's what saved us here. Even if it means saying goodbye for a long while. It was practically a forced ejection. Then again, it can't be helped. Said the guy who was like, fucking A, I'm being forced out before I got my arm back. I wanted to get 1,000 points. While we talked amongst ourselves, the world seemed to fragment as our bodies disintegrated. It's gonna be terrifying. I mean, I know it's like transporter technology from Star Trek, but that's still gonna be terrifying if you're not used to it. One by one, everyone began to disappear as though they were never there. Looks like you're all going now. See you later. Gyobu, see you again. You still haven't told me what class you're in. Oh, right. Not in a class he's lying. Maybe he's a fucking alien. Gyobu, are you still gonna be a downer? Just be happy and go back home. This kind of thing's a pain in the butt for me. Do you finally have mutual feelings about each other? Don't you hold hands? No, but as the world started to vanish, I did as Gyobu suggested, and held out my hand. I'll say, okay, that's what I'm talking about. I'm just the third wheel now, so I'll make myself scarce. See you again. Oh, I wanted to say one last thing, but Gyobu vanished before I could. Or maybe I was the one who vanished from where Gyobu was. I looked around me, and aside from Tomose next to me, everything was shrouded in light and hidden from view. The time we were gone was short yet long, and the people that we spent our time with were all everyone. I wanted to return home so much, so it was strange. I felt so lonely, and my heart was full of regrets. Now, when you go back, do you remember anything that you know what I mean? Because, like, while you're gone, nobody on Earth remembers you. But you have your bodies are at the information bureau. So theoretically, we should wake up there, not magically wherever we were before we disappeared. Gilbo's going to call me a pain in the butt again. I should stop this. I looked up and exchanged glances with Tomose next to me. Aw, look at our little CG. We held each other's hands tightly, and I could feel his warmth. Just like when we would go home in the past, I'd always felt Tomose's warmth like this. Feelings of anger and confusion were now gone. By the time we were home, everything was back to normal, just like before. It's just like back then. We've always done this. Yeah, we've always gone home like this. Even if we're fighting, we go home together. This was the biggest fight we've ever had. I don't think we'll have a bigger one. Yeah, how we deal with our kids, probably. You never know. If we're together, we'll sometimes fight. I don't want to anymore. I'll cherish you from now on. I already know you cherish me. That's why we're going home together. Well, about that, even if you say that, I have a lot to think about. Actually, I want to start over. Let's just set aside everything that happened until now and we'll start anew here. Ew. I know that it is impossible. I couldn't pretend that it never happened, but we might forget. But I know what I'm feeling. I choose to keep that in mind. Mose had so much conviction. I decided to deal with everything when we returned. Oh. I'll do it all over so that you'll truly fall in love with me. Yeah, I'll be looking forward to it. She's like, I'm kind of already in love with you, but like, I want you to try. I think it'll be fun. She's like, yeah, you do that. And then like you're like holding back because you're like, I just like him fawning over me. It's nice. Why aren't you going to tell him you love him? No, because he's trying really hard to get me to fall in love with him. But aren't you in love with him? Yeah, but don't tell him then. So fucking douchey. But you know what? Mose glanced over at me and gave me a wry smile. What's wrong? Oh, we're disappearing. No. Before we go back to the other side, there's one confession I'd like to make. Confession? I did lie to you about one thing. Did you notice what that was? I don't have to choose, do I? Huh? A lie? What is it? When you asked me about my cumulative points, I inflated the number when I answered you. It was before you took the punishment game. I did ask, but you lied about it? I lied because I was frustrated thinking I lost. Lost? All the cast members thought I had the greatest number of points, and I also made it sound that way. But the truth is, Kase had beaten me along the way. When I found out about that, I was mortified. Acting is the only thing I think I'm good at, so I panicked and got jealous. I couldn't think. He was always so optimistic, and he was like a leader to everyone. He truly was like a hero. I feel like this is telling you that Akase is Iochi's partner, because like, there's too much like, Akase's the hero, and like, I don't know. I'm starting to feel like, if he's not, I'd be surprised, but I feel like that's where they're leading you. And he was an even better actor than me. I didn't want to admit it. And when you were in that drama with Akase, I felt so jealous and frustrated that I joined in to mess it all up. Joke's on me. If I was a real hero, I never would have done that. But I would have felt so pitiful if... It's okay. Mose, I only need you to be yourself. Okay. It's tough to admit, and I'm embarrassed by it. But you talked about it anyway. That's why you're my... Now we disappear. Before I could finish my sentence, I saw the world. Its edges unraveled, and the rest crumbled away, swallowed by a soundless light. Say it again. I'll tell him when I get back. I'm sure that we can do things over, and then sure I'll forget everything. We're home again. I guess not. I remember the sky being bright. Scorching sun. It isn't as hot as before, but it's just as humid. So hot. Seems like summer vacation ended while I was in Arcadia. Summer's over, but I'm home. What happened to you, and where did you go, and does nobody miss you? Okay, we know that everybody forgets you. But do they forget you while you're missing, or when you get the dead end? Because, like, we saw that girl, remember? And we were like, wait, I didn't even... And Ibana's like, she was in my fucking class. How did I forget that she existed? But everyone seems to forget you existed. And obviously time passes, but, like, we come home, and then your parents are like, nobody just... All of a sudden... Could you imagine? You're, like, thinking, and all of a sudden like, your kid walks in, and you're like, oh. I feel like have you been gone for 3 months? Did I forget you existed? Like... How do you reconcile that in your brain? Like, does your family just... They fake memories? Or are they just... It's just a blip and they're like, oh, hey, did you have fun out shopping today? And you're like, did you have fun at school? And you're like, in 3 months, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? Or like, nobody knows you were gone for 3 months, just didn't exist. Is somebody going to explain this? They're not going to explain what happened, are they? Gonna be like, everyone forgot, and then we came back and there was no questions asked. I mean, that's kind of disturbing. And it's not because there's a weird time-space continuum temporal rift shit. It's literally, your bangle can fuck you up, bitch. The government's like, we deleted all your existence because we didn't want anybody to worry and know that people were being kidnapped, and we wanted to keep it under wraps, so like, shh. So my family forgot me from, yeah, but you're fine now, they remember, I think. Except your grandma forgot your birthday, but she's old, and we took her memories, and we tried to put them back, but like things didn't work. It's okay. It's whatever. She also thinks her favorite color's green now, but it's fine, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? Don't mess with people like that. I don't know, that just sets a terrible precedence for, like, a horror story in the fucking future. I think horror futures are crazy dolls that come to life and try to stab you. But, like, I don't know. This is kind of like futuristic horror where you're like, you can just make people forget people and, like, well, we use the bangle to take care of your body or give you cancer because fuck you, I hate you. And, like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't know. What if you cross paths of somebody that just gets mad at you and then they just, like, freaking give you a brain aneurysm? I don't know. I just don't trust this technology, okay? Whatever. Maybe I'm fucking old, but, like, no thanks. No way. Anyway, I'll be going first then. You're going already? Why don't we go somewhere? We never got to go on our trip. I really want to go next time, so I'll think about it. But today, it's your boyfriend, isn't it? You two sure are lovebirds. Hey, if you say it like that, she'll deny it again. Yeah, I'd feel bad if I kept him waiting. So I have to get going. See you tomorrow. Huh? What just happened? Did you get dumped by Sana? Oh, so that was a male student asking. Sorry, I messed up. Did you get dumped by Sana? Maybe? This is depressing. Well, I've got just a thing that'll cheer you up. So there's this illegal stream that's been the talk of the town. Huh? That's old news. We talked about that a while ago. Seriously? The heat, trip I missed out on, the painful memories. Okay, but again, your friends are like, we missed our trip. So they know they missed the trip and you missed the trip. And, like, but why does anybody... Because you know that the stream still exists. So you're not like, oh yeah, I was on that. Are you not allowed to talk about it? You just... What? Okay, you know what? Maybe... Okay, I take it back. Well, why don't they let us go home in some routes? Because it leads all these questions and you're like, we're not going to answer any of these questions. I mean, obviously, maybe not in Tomose's route because, like, technically should have been the first one, but, like... But now I'm curious. Where did the people think you went for the last couple months? And, like, you didn't go on your trip, and your friends didn't go on the trip, and why didn't they go? Because as far as they knew, you didn't exist. Right? So, like... Or if they knew you existed, because maybe they only forget you exist when you reach a dead end, right? Why? Where would they be like, oh, where were you the last couple months? My grandma's. Like, what? Isn't your grandma dead? I mean, like, how are you gonna not tell them? And then you would tell them, and then, like, you know what I mean? But the whole point of the Otherworld stream is that, like, oh, nobody knows. They talk about it. It's a mystery, and nobody's ever been on it because you don't talk about it. What happens on Otherworld stream, we don't talk about it. You know what I mean? It's like Fight Club. Shh. The first rule of Otherworld stream is you don't talk about Otherworld stream. But, like, but how do we explain where we've been? Anyway. Painful memories. Right now I can accept it all. There's only one reason I've overcome everything. I wonder what happened with the Information Bureau making their move. Have they learned the producer's identity yet? Okay, obviously, you know. When I woke up, I was in the Information Bureau's hospital, and I didn't know where Arcadia was. We wander around together. We took our usual path. We asked our usual questions. His response is always the same. Even if they've figured it out, they wouldn't tell us. It's probably a state secret. I mean, everything feels like a state secret that they're not telling us. Yes, that's true, but we're the ones who got dragged into this whole mess, so I don't think it's right. Even if you don't think it's right, you need to keep your mouth shut. Remember what the Information Bureau said. Okay, this explains more. Government threatening. All of it really happened, but we have to keep quiet about it. If hundreds of people have been kidnapped and ended up dead, it'll be a major scandal for the Information Bureau. Yeah, and again, we know that some of them are kind of in on it, so... It would damage the Information Bureau's reputation, and you'd get dragged into that mess. It's better to stay quiet about it. I don't necessarily, I mean, like, I get where government agencies are threatening you and saying this shit, but you gotta take a step back and be like, really, though? Yeah, I'm gonna get wrapped up in it. But, like, that's on you, bitch. I'm just an innocent bystander, although government bureaus have the money and the resources to make you look like a crazy motherfucker, and then your life is hell because they have power and you're just a tiny little ant under their shoes they can squish. So like, I guess if a government agency is like, listen, you shut the fuck up about this, alright? You'd be like, but actually, you know what, you're right. Maybe I should just shut the fuck. I don't know what happened to that. I tripped and fell and hit my head and I was in the hospital for a couple months. That's it. That's where I've been. You know? And the Information Bureau's probably working on a plan to rescue Gyobu this very second. Unless Gyobu's not real. Yeah, but Gyobu would probably ask them to leave him alone since he promised to win and come back. I can definitely see that happening. Maybe he's also an Arcadian. Even though we're back home, there are still so many things to worry about. I just want to spend my summer vacation relaxing. I mean, I was going to say, if anyone's an Arcadian, I'd bet Haiji was an Arcadian, just because he doesn't know shit. I think he's lying about his age. I don't really think he's 12, and is that because he's lying about his age because, again, easier to manipulate people, or lying about my age because, you know, that would imply I was actually given birth to by a human being, but I'm really like a blobby alien thing, so don't really have an age that's relative to humans. I'm just saying, it's one of those. There's a lot of shit that could happen. Even though we're back home, there are still so many things. Oh yeah, I just want to spend my summer. Okay, never mind. The summer vacation is already over. Can't believe that our entire break is over and we couldn't even take a day off. I was supposed to go on a trip with you, so I feel like complaining about it too. Yeah, I hope we can go somewhere soon. You know, take a trip together. Wait, I take that back. Huh? Why? You probably want to include your friends. I won't insist on traveling alone with you, but being with them is so awkward. And they ask all these questions about me being your boyfriend when I go to your class. I stop walking. Mose noticed and he stopped to turn around. Well, why not? I don't mind if it's just the two of us. Huh? You don't need to deny it anymore. Mose, you're always going to be my childhood friend in my mind. But I think it's time that some things change. Now you can say that you're more than just a childhood friend. You're my forever friend. Wait, what? That's not what I meant. Mose stares at me, probably wondering what I meant. Yeah, I think you need to spell it out for him. I have to bring it up, you know? Ever since we returned from Arcadia, I've been waiting to do things over. I've been waiting to hear it. When I remember what you said, I feel so awful. Heart-wrenching for me to learn about how you'd been feeling. But I was also happy. That's why I want to hear about it one more time. Before summer vacation started, before everything changed for us, you had something important to tell me. She's like, do it again! And then all of a sudden, the director shows up. Fucking game ends. That'd be such a clusterfuck. It'd be great, though. When he hears me say that, Tomose doesn't nod. He quietly turns to look at me. I've been holding in these feelings for so long. Did we get the CG when we first did his route too? Like, when we first got kidnapped when he was about to... It's not really his route, but like, I like how this just came full fucking circle. Kinda like that. I don't want you to see me as your younger childhood friend. I don't want you to use it as an excuse anymore. My heart hurts once more. This time I don't look away. You may not have noticed, but you've always been special to me. We've known each other so long, but you're still you. Maybe it's possible, maybe it isn't. But I want to tell you my feelings as a man. Before we were taken to that world, I think I had feelings for you, but it was in the most selfish way possible. Out of that selfishness, I want to make you mine, and I was made blind to everything else. Then, I finally realized it. I can do things over now, and even if we do it over, my feelings aren't going to change. And I'll prove it to you. Ponce smiles, and the sun shines on him. The strained voice he had back in Arcadia is no longer there. I love you. I want to be with you. I want to be closer to you than anyone else. I thought it would make me happy. For some reason, I'm crying. Why didn't I realize this sooner? If only I'd gotten closer to him sooner. But now, is it too late for that? Instead of apologizing, I want to be hopeful for the future. Thank you, Tomose. Love you too. want us to be closer, too. Also, you're my most cherished person. Sorry I made you wait so long for my answer. But please be my boyfriend. That's the kind of love I have for you. Do you understand? Oh my god, I was like, when she's like, I want to be closer, I'm like, now kiss. And then she says this. Okay, definitely kiss now. You were just saying that, right? I wouldn't lie about this. And there's no more need for lies. I don't know if it's the joy or the surprise, but seeing Tomose speechless makes me want to say more out of embarrassment. I like that, because he's like, I'm going to try harder to win you over, and he's expecting you to be like, okay. And you're like, I love you too. And he's like, what? Mose, you've confessed your feelings to me so many times, but if I accept your feelings, will you stop saying you love me? I just want to know. I'll say it as many times as I have to, because once isn't enough for you to get the message. Valid. Oh, really? You've already said it a lot. It's fine. I'll say it until I'm satisfied. I'll keep saying it until you're satisfied too. I love you. I always did, and I always will. From now on and forever. I've been waiting for a moment like this. It all feels right, and I confess my love to you. I've been wanting to say that I love you without hurting you. Sorry. I don't have to apologize anymore. Oh, now we kiss him! That's so cute! Stop! It's a cute CG. This is our do-over. Confession, the kiss, everything from the start. It does make you feel bad, though, that you're like, oh, Tomose, our little childhood friend, was going to confess our love, and then we're going to date like 8 other dudes. Sorry. Oops. It actually makes it weirder when he's the first route. You're like, now I'm going to go marry other people. Anyway, I love you. When we kiss and say those words, I feel my chest tighten up. Maybe it's better if we don't come back home in any of the other routes, because then Tomose goes away, and then he doesn't have to see us dating someone else. Maybe that's better for him. When we kiss and say those words, I feel my chest tighten up. I also love you. I accept those feelings and want to give it all back to him. Because now I realize just how much I love and care about Tomose. I can't think of anything good to say right now. Looks like you're a bad actor when it matters most. All I can think of is saying that I love you. It's okay. I feel the same way. I guess it's fine then. No matter how many times we do it over, I will always love you. I'll be by your side saying it as often as I can. Love you. I don't want to leave Tomose's side again. What do you call this feeling? Is it romance? Love? I don't really know. It's probably the same either way. I love Tomose. That's why I'll stay by his side and tell him that I love him as often as I can. Aww. The end. Alright, actually, like, perfect timing. Like, good job, us. Always forget that record is the thing. So, gallery. Tomose. Okay, actually, we got... Oh, we did get all of Tomose's CGs. That's cool. Good for us. I was trying to hide the text. I always hit the wrong button. Is it always Y? Well, yeah, this is basically the last CG, except for it's, yeah, like, okay. It's the same version of the same CG. It's like, right before we get kidnapped, right after we get home. I'm glad they didn't ruin it, but at the same time, like, a figure walks up behind us, the scene ends, and you're like, God damn it! That would have been so funny. Well, there we go. That was actually our first kiss with Tomose when he forced it on us. Not his fault. Oh, god damn. This is one of those. I hate that. Alright, whatever. We'll just leave the little thing on the bottom so I know which ones have more than one. I don't like it when A acts like back. Because if on this one, no matter how many times you do it, you know what I mean? A just shows the variation. This one, there's no variation, so instead of not doing anything, it acts like... I don't like that! I will bitch about that till the end of time. Why? Game developers, why? Stop doing that. Bad coding. Bad. Like, don't do that. Like... I feel like, I mean, maybe it's just default, but I just feel like it'd be more annoying to do that. Like, if multiple, then A equals skip to next. If not, go back. No! Like, if multiple, A skips through. Otherwise, do nothing. Just do nothing. Anyway, that's cute. Tomose's route wasn't bad. He's not my favorite character, because, like, you know, childhood friend route, But I don't think he was bad. It's not like, he didn't... This is such an awkward fucking CG. So fucking awkward. Like he's screaming into our mouth. I know it's supposed to be like a heated kiss, but it's like your mouths are open too wide and it looks a little fucking wonky. Let's just go past. But you know what I mean? I don't think they did it badly. Like, yes, he was a little protective, but I don't think he was the super overprotective whatever. And given the scenario we were in, I wouldn't blame him if he had been, because at least it makes sense. There are other ones where it really doesn't make sense for, like, your childhood friend to be, like, super overprotective, and you're like, I can open a box of cereal. Jesus Christ, it's not gonna chop my hand off. Simmer down. You know, there's not a bear trap in my fucking cereal, okay? Like, get out. You know, in this one, it's like, oh, be careful, because people could stab you. Valid. You know? But he's still not my favorite character. But, like, you know, who's gonna be? But I do think, I think their route was good. Decent. Definitely do think it fit for the, you know, first route. Makes sense because safest character. There was really, if you think about it, there really wasn't any kind of a reveal happening. Oh my god, Tomose told us he loves us. I mean, hi. You knew that going in that he was always in love with you, and he started off right before you got kidnapped being like, hey, by the way, never mind. Like, you know what I mean? So. Now look at him. Angry and blushing at you. But. Nope, nope. Don't you look at Chigasaki, goddammit. Honestly, like, his little crying one's kind of adorable. Like, this one's kind of adorable. Our little, happy kiss scene. It's lovely. Anyway, so, perfect timing, perfect end to Mose's route. Alright. Not bad. Don't have a problem with it. I mean, I have a problem with certain things in the game in general, but not the route specifically. I think it was fine. We had time. We had fun. So, I don't know whose route we're going to do next, because I'm not going to look. I am going to look as soon as we start recording the next one, and we're like, all right, whose route we going down now? And then we're going to find out if it's a character we've already done, or if it's someone new. If we're taking bets, we're all going to lose here, okay? I'm still leaning that I do think Iochi's route would be one of the first ones. I don't know if it would be second or third, but that's a possibility, which we've already done, so then we would move to the next character. I definitely don't think Futami's route should have been done till toward the end. I'm not really sure. I think Iochi would come before Ibana, just because of the things that we've already seen. So, I think Iochi will either be character 2 or 3. That would be my guess. And as for, well, Futami, definitely not. I think we already know he's in 4, 5, and 6, so I don't think, and Gyobu, I definitely think is one of the locked routes, although now I'm like, because, well, he has to be. Gyobu has to be a locked route, because we've already done Futami and Tomose, and there's no way Tomose was a locked route. He was the first character. So, Gyobu is definitely not it. So we're done with the cleaning team for a while. And I would think on the cooking team, I'm still sus as fuck a Haiji, so I'm throwing him at the end somewhere. So I think Iochi would come before Ibana in that. So Iochi's possibility for the next character, which we've already done, so then we move to character 3. And as for the information team, I still don't know. Those are all juggling up in the air. So I'd be curious. I think Akase is safe, because I'm starting to think he's Iochi's partner. So, but I think then you'd have to do Iochi first before you figured out who his partner was. So then you'd have to do Iochi, then Akase. So it's possible Iochi's second, then Akase's third. So if Iochi happens to be the second route, then I would guess Iochi would be, then Akase would be the third one. If Iochi's second, then Akase's the third. That's okay. Otherwise, if those, they definitely have to be Iochi, then Akase. As far as my assumptions are right now, my guess. But, like, that doesn't mean Iochi couldn't be third, and then Akase is, like, fourth or fifth, and Oroban is in between. You know what I mean? It's just Iochi would, I think, somewhere come before in the lineup. But if Iochi was third, and then Akase's after, then Dazai or Chigasaki? I lean more toward Chigasaki with one of the earlier ones. Because Dazai seems to have more, like, he's quieter. There's not as much going on. And again, they're both sus for different reasons. Like, Chigasaki could be sus because he's very social and a little more friendly and a little more helpful. And Dazai could be sus because he's not any of those things. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like they're opposite sides of the same coin here. But I think they kind of lean more like Chigasaki being a little more social. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Dazai seems like there's something else going on with you. So what is that? You know? And if you think about it, as we've been watching, like, Iochi pops up a lot in the routes. Talking shit. Whatever. Right? Chigasaki pops up a lot, just being buddies with us. And maybe it's just the way I've played it. But, like, Dazai's there, but not as much. Ibana's there, but not as much. So, like, I'm starting to think they're later routes. So, I guess what I'm getting down to is my guess is Chigasaki or Iochi. Now, we've already done Iochi, but I would guess one of them would be next. So, you know. And again, it's possible that Akase comes right after Iochi. It's just, I would say Chigasaki be number 2 if Iochi's number 3. If Iochi's number 2, then it could be Chigasaki or Akase as number 3. So there you go. That's my guess. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens next time. It's going to be at least a week because I got to record our other games. So, and we're so ahead on this one. I'm pretty sure it's fucking like it's goddamn sometime in December at this point for you. But I do have to, or God, is it January already? Fuck, I don't even know. But I do have to get far enough in advance because, you know, for the holiday season, I'm not going to have a lot of time to record. So I got to do what I can. And I have been very slow at this one. Like, usually I would do a couple things a day, and this one I've been like, whatever, we did one part, because, like, work's been stressful, I'm hungry all the time, because I don't get to eat a lot during work time, because, like, I'm so busy stressing out over shit, so, yeah, that's just ruining my life right now. But anyway, we will see what happens, and, yeah, so I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up, and subscribe to see more.